Hi, this is Peter McIntyre, VP of Product at DataBlend, and I'm going to walk through DataBlend's pre-configured integrations between Sage Intacct and Workday Adaptive Planning. But before I jump into things, I just wanted to give a brief background on DataBlend's history, which actually was founded based on a lack of automation with the adaptive planning application over 10 years ago now. I personally was an adaptive consultant at the time when our firm developed DataBlend initially to solve the problem of automating the load of actuals and transactions into adaptive from various ERPs without having to manually download a file to Excel, manipulate the data, and then upload the formatted file. Each step a manual process, which could be long and cumbersome. We quickly became engaged with Sage Intacct as a lot of our clients in the mid-market space used it as their ERP of choice. So we built very robust integrations between the two applications that would suit the needs of the majority of our clients, with the ability to customize rule sets and workflows as needed. So today, 10 years later, we still have a robust connection between the two, and I'm going to walk through just how easy it is to set up an integration between Sage Intacct and Adaptive. So we are looking at the DataBlend platform right now, and what I'm going to showcase is our workflow wizard. So within the automate section, there is this wizard option. And basically this gives you a set of steps to build an entire workflow, which essentially is an integration between two applications. So you can see you have a choice between source and destination. So we want to integrate between Sage Intacct to Adaptive. So I'm going to select Sage Intacct as my source, Workday Adaptive Planning as my destination. And then you'll notice there are three workflow types. There's a balance sheet, an income statement and balance sheet, and then a transactions workflow choice. Balance sheet is only if your adaptive instance has been set up where your balance sheet accounts are set up as ending balance. You will need this to be a separate workflow just because the data that you get from Sage Intacct will need to be formatted in a specific way for that. Otherwise, you can select the income statement and balance sheet option, which means your balance sheet accounts are set up as deltas, meaning you're just loading the transactions in and the ending balance will calculate automatically in Adaptive. And then you have the transactions, which is the transaction loader to the transactions module, which lets you drill down into the actuals to see the transactions that make up the total amount. So I'm going to run the income statement and balance sheet workflow here and just hit next. And the next step is a series of options here where first you just need to select your Sage Intacct credential. If you don't have a Sage Intacct credential already set up, you can do that by clicking this plus create button and then going to the Sage Intacct option, and then you will just need to provide a company ID, user password, sender ID, and sender password. DataBlend is a marketplace partner with Sage Intacct, so DataBlend can provide its sender ID and password if needed. I already have a Sage Intacct credential set up, so I'm just going to choose the one I have. Then the only other required fields are a start date and end date. So I'm just going to choose start of this calendar quarter through end of last month. These are relative dates, so as time goes on, the dates that you're running this workflow for will change based on these relative dates, and you can change these dates after the fact as well if you want to change the default settings. For book ID, this will show a list of all of your book IDs coming directly from your instance of Sage Intacct. I'm just going to choose accrual here. And then you can also filter by start and end account. So if you just wanted to run income statement data, for example, you could select, just your income and expense accounts, 4,000 through 8,000 if you wanted, or you could even type something in manually if you wanted to just do, account 1 through 9999, something like that. All is possible. Or if you leave it blank, it's just going to pull every account automatically. And then you have the option to choose dimensions as well. Say you want to pull customer and project. You'll then be presented with how you want to load customer and project into Adaptive. Do you want to pull just the ID, just the name, or the ID and name concatenated together? You have those options for each dimension. You will just need to make sure your mappings in Adaptive align to which selection you make here. So if you just go with ID, you would need to map the dimension IDs in Adaptive to make those load in properly. I'm just going to leave these blank because our instance of Adaptive does not have any dimensions for standard accounts. And I'm just going to go to the next step, which is query setup. Now this is where you choose your level. And right now we have either department ID and title or location ID and name. I'm going to go with location ID because that's how we have our demo instance set up here. This can all be customized after the fact as well. So if you need specific rules or you need to map something else to level, that's possible. We will be reworking the wizard to be a little more flexible on what you can use for level as well in an upcoming release. And then the last step is choosing your adaptive credential. Again, you can create a new one on the fly here or choose one that's already been set up. And then you can choose from the drop down the version you want to load the data to. Now we're just going to load to an actuals version, and you can see this DataBlend demo is an actuals version that we can load to. And then we just hit next. And it's going to create these various objects in DataBlend, which essentially is a full workflow that can run after the fact. So just hit create, and then it'll bring you into the finalized workflow. And that's pretty much it. That created the integration. From here, you can favorite this so it shows up on your dashboard. You can set this up to run on a schedule. If you go to the Advanced tab, hit the presets. Typically, you might want to run this maybe once a day. You can choose every day at a specific time, and then choose the time you want it to run. Maybe you want it to run once a week. You can choose the day of the week you want it to run. Other options as well. You know, if you want to run it every certain number of minutes or certain number of hours between certain times of day, you can do all of that. So I can either run this workflow right now, right from here by clicking the Run Now button, or since I favorited it, I can go back to my dashboard and it will show up in my favorite section here. I can click the Run button right from here. And this is where I can change my date parameters if I want to on the fly. And you can see all those options are back available for me. I can change the as of date. So if I want it to be a specific date, I can do that as well. And I can even change the book ID right from here if I need to. So I'm just going to hit run right now. And you will see it does kick off the workflow. You can view the steps as it's running. It's just a two-step process. You know, we're collecting GL details from Sage Intacct, doing all the data transformations within DataBlend kind of behind the scenes, and then just loading that data into the adaptive standard model. Should just take another second or two here. And once it completes, you can just check the data in adaptive. You can see I have my P&L sheet open here. I will just refresh it and we should see data for 1 quarter that just got loaded in, which as you can see is just 1 month because July was the start of the calendar quarter here. Next, we're just going to run through the Sage Intacct to Adaptive Transactions wizard. Looks pretty similar to the income statement and balance sheet wizard where you need to select your credentials and your dates. Do start of this calendar quarter through end of this month again. Choose the same book ID. You have the same options here as well with start account, end account, and dimensions, which I will just bypass for now. And this time when you choose your adaptive credential, it will look to your transactions model within adaptive and show you all the various fields that you need to map against. The main one we need to map right now is going to be organization, which essentially is a level. And I'm just going to choose location ID. You could, choose any of your Sage Intacct columns to map to any of these other ones as well. I'm just going to run through this and hit next and create the workflow. And again, it will just create this workflow here. You can favorite it, schedule it, same as the standard workflow, or you can run it right from here at this time as well, which I will do. I'm just going to hit run now and we will see this load the transactions to adaptive. You can also click on the started to see the progress right within this screen here and view the logs if you'd like to see the detail of what's going on. And then once that completes, we should be able to go into adaptive and drill into the transactions to see what makes up the numbers of what we just loaded. And there you have it. That's how DataBlend can integrate Sage Intacct to Workday Adaptive. Very easy, very simple to set up. Any custom workflows that do need to be done between the two applications, whether it's model sheets or metadata, that can all be done in DataBlend as well. DataBlend is very flexible. The wizard makes these actuals and transactions workflows very simple to set up, but any other custom workflows that need to be built, DataBlend can handle those as well. So if you'd like to learn more about how DataBlend can work between the two, how it can work for your organization, feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to help.